This is another one of those calculate the net present value and kind of compare to internal rate of return. In this particular problem, we're actually having two different investment amounts. We have an investment in the machinery and equipment initially, and you'll see those numbers here are given to us of 4,900,000, and then an investment of working capital of 960,000. And now what I've done is I put those in green because those are given numbers of investment initially that we are going to compare our future output to. Okay, so our cash inflows that come in from this investment, right, is what we want, right? And so what to compare it to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 1 year's worth of cash inflow. And I'm going to say, look, what is the present value of that? Well, if you take just 1 year like that, you could just use the present value of one because you have a lump sum there. And so a present value of one for 1 year, because remember that this investment is the beginning of 2019. So in that first year, you're going to use the first factor of one period. That is, by the way, a 12% column. And you're going to get this factor from table uh, 6.4. And this is a present value of one. And you're going to multiply these two out. You're going to get this amount of money. So this is basically your present value of this 1,600,000. And then we do that for 2 years or two periods here. They get the factor for two periods for this total amount that is given. In other words, we expect to get this amount 2 years from now. And so that amount at its present value is put here. And then this amount is in 3 years is where we're going to get from this investment. So we put that here. Now, if you'll notice here, the little quirky part of this problem is that the salvage value is also the maturity value, if you will, for this product. And we're going to get out of this project a salvage of $800,000. But that's going to be in 3 years. So what we'll do is we'll use that third period factor here, and we'll go ahead and multiply that out and get a present value on it. And then this release of working capital, they tell us this investment in working capital, we're going to get it back. In other words, it's coming back in 3 years. But what is its value, now, from 3 years from now? Like what is its present value of that? Well, we're going to release that working capital, so that 960,000 times that 3-year factor will give us the present value of that working capital. So if we take all these numbers, which are numerous here, that represent the future cash flow, and we compare them against the green numbers that are given as the initial investment, then we're going to get a net present value of a positive, notice this, a positive net present value of $85,392. And because this net present value is positive, then our internal rate of return is going to be higher than the cost of capital, which is 12%, which what we have determined is our cost of our capital. Okay? Now understand there's a lot of things that go into cost of capital. As there's amounts, decisions, operating income, but there's also expenses related to investment that we want to cover. And we also keep in mind have an amount that we could very well make on this investment money without putting it at risk. So we could put it into this cost of capital percentage can include amounts that of interest that we might could get, like we might get 2 or 3% on this money without putting it at risk in an investment. So we might add that to this cost of capital number. So we're calculating the future cash flows, guys, on these two investments, comparing all that to those investments, and then we're coming up with a net present value. And we're then just basically saying if this is a positive number, then that means our internal rate of return will be higher than what we need it to be. So this would be then considered a better investment. Now, know and recalculate this a number of times. Practice this in Connect because you will see this problem on the exam. It's for sure on there. So just know how to do it, and it's real straightforward. Well, praise the Lord. We are at the end of chapter 16. So we're real close to being finished with this course. And I want you to understand, guys, that this last exam, final exam, is going to be a good many problems from chapters 13, 14, and 16, primarily from 16. So you want to make sure you know how to do all these problems in chapter 16, because this is kind of the accumulation of the decision-making process for a managerial accountant to get to, and is in this last chapter. Some of these decisions that are very typical of companies, and some of the things that managerial accountants go through to try to come up with the right kind of decision making on their numbers. Okay, so anyway, I want y'all to realize that I have very much spent some time kind of going over these problems, kind of looking them over, and sort of watching maybe some old videos that I had. And I've also contemplated the problems and read them thoroughly, and just trying to kind of go in my talk to you in my audio version here of the solution. I'm just trying to talk to you about these problems so you can get just a perspective that is what is the author's intent here, and what are we trying to get at with this kind of a problem, and how it really fits in the real world. And that's what I really try to do with my videos, is kind of point you to this is the real world, guys. So I've tried to do that. I've done that, I think. And I hope that you got a lot out of the course and you enjoyed this course. I have, for the first time, been able to actually sit at my desk with a really decent software application that records fairly well, and I come out pretty clearly. So I hope that was helpful to you, and I want you guys to have a great next session. Okay.